Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my updated settings for both defensive settings and offensive settings in MyTEAM Unlimited or any sort of competitive series in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. These are the settings that I use basically every single game in 5v5, regardless of the mode, whether it's unlimited, a scrim, a tournament, clutch time, any of those things. I really think these are the settings that you can go to have the most possible success in your gameplay. And these settings are, very likely going to overlap with the settings of people who have done settings videos. For example, a TyDeBo and ImJustIsaac, a Bio2K, etc. Guys like that have also done settings videos, and I'm sure these settings are going to be similar to theirs. I will admit, I have not watched their videos and I don't know exactly what settings they play on, but these are the settings that I personally play on and think are the most effective possible. So if there's some overlap, just keep that in mind. But I do think there's also going to be some differences. But yeah, before we hop into this video, if you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 3,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I'm uploading every single day, less than 75 subscribers away from that mark, and I would love to hit that in the near future, if at all possible. So yeah, as y'all can see, my unlimited record for this season, 121-13, 90% win rate. To be completely honest with y'all, I haven't even lost 13 games. I think I've probably lost 5 or 6. I gave a few people wins just to help them out, a couple of my friends in unlimited, and also got error code in a couple games. So I would honestly say I probably have 5 or 6 losses this season, really. 120 wins. Definitely like a very good record. So I really do think that these settings can really help you out and help make you the best player possible. Without further ado, that's a long intro. Let's not waste any time. Let's hop into a game and I will show y'all these settings. All right, so I considered hopping into an unlimited game, but y'all have seen enough unlimited gameplay out of me in 5v5 gameplay. This isn't really what this video is about. This video is specifically about these settings and why I use them. And I'll start off with defensive settings. The first 2 settings I do is on-ball pressure and off-ball pressure. These are basic. These have not changed from the last video. I did smother and tight. I think these are the 2 best on-ball and off-ball pressures you can do. Corners don't drop on tight settings when you do this way at the beginning of the year. They did drop on tight settings. Now they don't. They fixed that, so they stay pretty close to the corners, but not close enough where they're going to get consistently back cut if your opponent tries to back cut you. Smother on ball, I think, is the most effective for being able to get over screens, play effective defense on the ball, get the most bumps possible, steals possible, things of that nature. It gives you flexibility on ball, and I think it's the best way to play to prevent your defender from being, or your opponent's player from being able to dribble and create as easily as he wants to. On ball screen is the next setting that I do, and I just put this on go over. Same thing with off ball screens, the exact same thing. I put this on go over as well. I think that having basically the screen player go over the screen, or the person guarding the screen go over, is the most effective way to play defense, because then they're going to prevent this 3-pointer that's coming off the screen. They're trying to score a 3 off the screen. You're going to prevent that by going over. If you go under, they can just stop and shoot the 3 pretty consistently. So I like go over. And then defensive, other than the go over, I for hedge wise, I put this on no hedge, because I like to user my hedges. I think the hedging, while effective, hedging is definitely an effective thing that you can do in game. I think that having the CPU doing a specific hedge for me, whether that's a soft hedge, a double, a hard hedge, catch hedge, any of those things. I know some people like to use hedges, but I don't personally, because I think that I like to be able to user my hedges myself, basically based on how I want the center to play the screen in that specific possession, whether I want them to hedge high and try to blitz the screen, or whether I want them to stay low and basically have my on-ball player fight over the screen, or a rotation from a hash or a corner to play differently. So I don't want the center being stuck in a specific hedge if I don't want them hedging that way in that possession. So that's why I like to have no hedge on. Kind of a little bit of a mouthful there, but stay attached is something that I think is crucial to put on, because it will make your defender, your on-ball defender, stay with the ball handler and not switch onto the screener. Because if you don't put this stay attached on, they will often just basically arbitrarily switch, where the on-ball defender will just decide to stay with the screener, and then the guy who's guarding the screener will have to step up and take the ball handler, which is fine in certain situations. You like to be able to switch screens, but I like to manually switch my screens with an A switch, X switch, if y'all know what that is, if I do want to switch the screen. Otherwise, I want my point guard fighting through, or my on-ball defender fighting through on the guard and playing defense in that way. That's the way that I like to play defense. So that's why I put the stay attached on. That's the crucial setting for that. In terms of off-ball screen, same thing, go over. I want an off-ball defender trying to fight over a screen if there is a screen set away from the ball for any sort of play. And against plays I typically use, or most of my defense anyway, baiting lanes, things like that. Plays are typically pretty recognizable and pretty obvious in game, especially after they're run a couple times. teams against you, and you get used to how to defend them pretty simply. And then the final thing that I do is I turn the screen help to no help and drive help to no help. This isn't new. Want to make sure that we have no help on at all times to play the best possible defense. Now, offensive settings are a lot easier. Play selection, I run one play. It's quick 5 out in the Bucks playbook. Like I said, Bucks playbook, quick 5 out. That's it. It gives you a different look at 5 out with your power forward at the top of the key and your ball handler coming down along one of the wings, and then everybody else spaced around in both the corners and the opposite hash. Then for my freelance, I put it on Bucks 2018 because it is just an easy way to get into my 5 out. I made a whole video on my freelance and why I run Bucks 2018 freelance specifically. So if y'all want to go check that out, that video is up on my channel. But this gives you the pass and screen away 5 out that you want. When you call the pass and screen away, it will give you a 5 out from wherever you are on the court. And yeah, those are the only things that I do for offensive settings. Then finally, I go over to coach settings. I guess not finally, but I go over to coach settings, adaptive coaching engine, turn this off. Adaptive coaching engine controls whether things will change. Basically, if the CPU will change your defensive and offensive game plans while you're in the game. I don't want them touching that. I want to be in control of all of those things. So I turn that off so that they don't make any changes for me, basically. And then finally, coaching sliders. I turn help defense all the way down. Again, same thing as no help on drive and screen help in earlier in the game. I turn that all the way down to 0 because I don't want my defenders helping. I want them to stay on the corners and guard the players they're supposed to be guarding, and then let me do my rotations manually. Zone usage frequency, I turn all the way down as well. I'm honestly not sure if this matters at all if you turn this down, because it's typically at 3 with the coach that I have anyway, so it doesn't really change anything, but I like to turn it down just for the aesthetic of it, and just to make sure they don't ever switch into a zone when I don't want them to switch into a zone. And then finally, run plays frequency. Again, I don't think this is a crucial thing to turn down, but I do like to turn this all the way down to 0 as well, because if you have it up and you leave it up like it is at 95, they will run plays for you when you don't run a 5 out or a pick and roll or something on that possession. If you just bring the ball up the court, they will start running a play for you themselves. And typically I don't want my CPU running plays because I don't know those plays, and I don't like to run plays with my offense anyway. I want to run my pick and roll or my 5 out and get into my offense that I'm comfortable with. And sometimes it's harder to do that when you have this run plays frequency up. But really, that's about it for the settings. My settings are not super complicated in game. I don't do a ton of complicated things at all in terms of the way that I run my offense or my defense. The most complicated thing I would say is defense and the defensive settings, but if you copy my defensive settings, they're going to help you out on the defensive end, and then it's more important to try to learn rotations and how to just be a solid on-ball defender with your click-ons and your click-offs, and how to guard the pick and roll effectively and things of that nature. And those are things that you learn by playing the game and watching better players play the game. Guys like TyDeBo or Splash, or even guys like me or Hams, or people like that who are really, really good at the game. Those are the people to watch to help yourself improve as a defensive or offensive player further, because there's only so much that settings can really do for you. But hopefully these settings are helpful for you, and you can apply these basically to your game, and hopefully they will help you to improve as a player. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did find it helpful, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.